the channel. Thank you for tuning in as always, and thank you for all your comments, likes, subscribes, shares, discussions, etc, etc. All very, very much appreciated. Right, today we are doing ONR, optimum no rinse, and more specifically, a friend at work said to me, what is the minimum amount of equipment that you need to do a rinseless wash? So that's what we're going to go through today. So we'll have a look at the level of dirt on the car. We're looking like standard dust. It's not enormously dirty. That's the sort of dirt we've got on the car. Had a good wash last week. It's only rained once this week. We're only looking at a thin layer of dust. Perfect. Maybe the roof's a bit worse. Anyway, so let's get straight into it. So the minimum items required. Number one, bucket and grit guard. A bottle of ONR, dosing cap not essential. If you don't have one, you'll have to measure it yourself. And a spray bottle. You can either use a reused kitchen bottle from indoors that's had spray bleach in it, or multi-surface cleaner, something like that. Give it a good clean out, make sure it's thoroughly rinsed out, and you can use that. Or you can use a dedicated car sprayer that you've bought, or IK Multi-Pro sprayer. That's what I use. And this is for applying the pre-soak. And I have got these Chemical Guys buckets. They hold 4.5 gallons, which is 17 litres. And I typically like to fill it nearly to the top, so that is about 4 gallons. And the instructions say for no rinse wash, use 1 ounce to 2 gallons. Subsequently, I'm going to put 2 ounces of product into 4 gallons of water. Easy peasy. And I'll give that a little swish with something clean. This brush isn't part of the demonstration, but it is clean. I spent a fair amount of time yesterday cleaning all my cleaning products. Then I will submerge this into the bucket to fill it up with solution to approximately halfway. And the only other thing you need is your wash media and something to dry the car with. So I've positioned these in order from worst to best. Okay, traditional car washing sponge. If you've got this in stock, it will do. I'm not using it. They're a bit frowned upon these days in the valeting community. They tend to hold the grit in the surface or the structure and scratch your car. These I always have in stock as a little backup plan. Cheap as chips from Tesco, £1.50 I think. So tolerable. You could probably wash and indeed dry with those. Next best, half decent quality microfiber towels. Better, double-sided, colour-coded, nice and soft, nice and plush. Better still, Chemical Guys. I think these are happy endings, edgeless towels, very good. Gridded sponge, as you can see, just about. I'll squeeze it a little bit. So gridded sponge. Seems funny really, doesn't it? Slightly counterintuitive because I've said classic car sponge, poo. But gridded sponge, I mean, they sell these in a kit. A decent gridded sponge, not necessarily this particular one, but gridded sponge, ONR and a IK foamer. They sell them in a kit. So, and a lot of people like these. I've used it a few times, I quite enjoy it. Then my preferred car washing media, like a little noodle mitt. These are cheap ones, probably £5-6 each, maybe Asda, maybe Tesco, can't remember. And then more expensive, but other than the fact that they're new, and clearly you can see the colours better, there's not a lot in it. I like this. This is my go-to mitt that I use for shampooing every weekend. But I appreciate there are much cheaper ones available, and you're probably paying a premium for the Autoglim name or the chemical guy's name. For the record, this one has become slightly irritating because the inside moves around a bit, and you end up sort of clinging it, trying to reshape it, holding it with your hands, whereas the Autoglim one has got a little seam down the middle, so you've got a nice grip. Anyway, so that is your basic elements, and the process is going to look like this. Whereas normally it would be wheels first, get them all done, finished, because they're the dirtiest part of the car, then do your pre-foam or traditional 2-bucket method, start at the top, wash the whole car, etc, etc. With Rinseless, the other way around. We're going to start with the roof, then we'll go around the panels one at a time, and then with whatever's left in the bucket, we're going to do the wheels. Seats here for me because I like to sit down. Anyway, you don't need these, they're optional. You don't need any kind of tyre applicator pads, that is optional. You don't need a rinse bucket, jury's out on that. Some people do use a rinse bucket, but a lot of people say with the substantive or proprietary polymers in the ONR, that encapsulates the dirt and it goes to the bottom, sits underneath the grit guard anyway. So I'm going with the 1 bucket option. I do have my woolly mammoth drying towel in there, but I probably won't need that. It's boiling hot, and I'm probably just going to do drying with the chemical guys. I think for me, I'm probably going to wash with that, and I'm going to dry with that. And if anyone's seen my short I did yesterday regarding all the different towels, today isn't necessarily going to be I'm testing all them, although I can do that for a future video, no problem at all. And wheel cleaner, not essential, a couple of products there for a later video today. And tyre shine, totally not utterly up to you. If you feel the need to finish off with a little bit of tyre shine, you can. So we'll get her back on the tripod, get it nicely framed, and we'll get straight into it. I won't film the pumping up the IK sprayer part. Now you probably could get away with not using a sprayer at all. So if you wanted, you could go wash media, bucket, product, and drying media, and that'd be it. If you really wanted to keep it as basic as humanly possible. Right, that's her pumped up, ready to go. Just going to pause while I move the other cloths because I don't want to drench everything. So with everything prepared, drop the wash media into the bucket face down so any particles go downwards with gravity and get caught in the grit guard. So we'll just apply a thin layer of the product on the roof. You can see it's a little bit smoky because it's very hot, and you want to wring this out until it's just thinking about dripping, like that. And then nice straight lines over your panel. And if you're doing a section that you think, oh, it looked a bit grisly, well, double check your cloth and pop it in. And then immediately dry. Nice straight lines, flip if necessary, inspect your cloth regularly for your own sanity. And that is that. Nothing to it. So let's do a part that's slightly more interesting. So I'm just going to drag this out the way. Ooh. Excuse me. We'll pop this on the tripod, on the seat, like so, and then we can document that process better. So we're going in for this door. So we'll give it a little pre-soak. What I had found with this product, say it was autumn, you could do, if you were thinking you're going to do this one next, you could pre-soak that one, do this one, and move forward accordingly. But because it's so hot, and I'm worried that the product's going to be drying on the panel really quick, I'm going like this. Feels nice and slick. Doesn't feel like you're scratching or damaging the paint in any way. Nice straight lines as per standard spec. Inspect your wash media and then plop it back in the bucket, action side down, so that while I'm drying, gravity will do its business and any particles will fall downwards and then get stuck underneath the grit guard. So it's like everything. Just keep doing regular inspections of your wash media and doing regular inspections of your drying media. And as I showed in the walk round initially, because the car's really today only in need of a very simple maintenance wash, I'm not going to be roaring through loads and loads and loads of cloths. But you can see we're achieving a nice result. Hopefully you can still see the dust on there, and then you move to the fully cleaned panel. You're getting a nice result with very, very minimal drama. Easy. Right, so I think with this door, certainly I'm thinking pre-soak, just down the A-pillar, and the joys of rinseless. Because it's rinseless, if you get any on the previous panel that you've just dried, no drama. And hopefully this is also a good example of how convenient the IK sprayer is. So a lot of people say, oh, you're pumping it all the time, but I think I'll do roof and a half, no problem at all, before needing to pump it again. I'll get all around that as per normal spec. Make sure this is all done. And I just did section of the glass, section of the bonnet, straight lines on the wing. We're not worried if we go back over any elements or double over any elements. As I say, if you left these spots on that bit that was done, it probably wouldn't cause much of a problem because it's rinseless. So you're not fighting water spots all the time. You do get them, but it's not as bad as if you'd done a foam or missed a bit during the shampoo phase. Just get in there. It's time for trying to get as much in before any straight up dries. That little inch of the bonnet that I did. When you do this method, you're not worrying about up inside the arches. We're not digging out that part. So that is half the roof done. Back door, front wing, and it's looking nice and fresh. So I'm going to buzz round that. Actually, let's just go round it real time, eh? Right, I'll pause and manoeuvre the camera. Right, let's get this one done. We'll get that done. Because you're wringing out the product, the wash media, every time until it's not dripping, or just thinking about dripping, you're using hardly any product. So there'll be ample left for the wheels. Skin side down, just float in there. Drying aid in pocket, ready to go. And as I say, don't forget, if your car was dirtier than mine to start with, you may wish to consider multiple drying towels and also possibly a rinse bucket. You have to make those calls yourself. Anyway, that's that side all done. So I'm just going to bury the drying aid, reposition that, and we'll get straight into some more. It's one thing I've enjoyed about the DJI, it's because the gimbal's very, very soft motion. When I whiz it off the tripod, it almost feels like a natural cinematic experience. I'll go and get the other part of the roof done in a moment, but in the meantime we'll get this soaking. A little bit extra on that granular bit that we spotted at the start of the video there, and we've still got plenty in there to do the roof. Then and only then I might start thinking about a pump. Also, going back to the beginning of the video when I said you don't need alloy wheel cleaner, the reason I chose not to, for one, keeping the process and the amount of equipment needed as light and economical as possible, but secondly, for me, if I'm going to be using chemicals, I want to be rinsing them. So I'm thinking with the amount of water you put on with a rinseless wash, I don't feel personally that that's enough to totally neutralise the chemical on your car. So that's my reasoning for that. Yes, it might make your life really, really easy and quicker, but how do you know you're going to get rid of all the chemical at the end? So I thought also another angle, be interesting to see how good straight O&R is at wheels. So we shall see. We shall see. It's funny, when it's autumn, you think to yourself, oh, it'll be lovely in the summer. Valeting when it's blazing hot. Well, mixed opinions on that. Mixed opinions on that. Well, the boot was one of the areas that was showing a reasonable level of dirt. So that's a nice test for it. That's come up good. That's come up good. Right, let's just pop my cloth somewhere safe. Scoop myself around here. And you can see why this method is so popular. We've almost washed the whole car. We're closing in on it very quickly, in my opinion. I've used next to no product. Wash media is still nice and clean. There is a few bugs and little bits of sap up there, so that's going for an immediate second dunk and a little rub on the bottom of the grit guard, bottom of the bucket, and then we're straight back in. Just reach over, get that last bit, and this time, rather than last time with the other side, I did the roof rails as part of the door process. We'll get that done at the same time as the roof. Saves any overspray. Every day's a school day. Always learning little tweaks. That's the joy of it. The more you practice, the better you get, the easier it all becomes. And you get to a point where you can keep your ride in a reasonable state all the time with very minimal fuss. So I'm getting the pre-soak on that one already, starting to feel like we're winning. Almost going to be able to get around the whole car with one pump of the IK foamer, spray. Almost, just not quite. Little cheeky pre-rinse before the next panel. Cheeky rinse, I should say. It's not a pre-rinse, is it? If anyone's interested, I know any regular viewers will have seen that both my wheel arches are shot. So I had a company round on Friday, visited me while I was at work, and are preparing a quote. So as much as it pains me to say I'll be without the Forester, which is a horrible thought, but at long last she's getting paint, everything, the full works. No expense spared. So, exciting. Lovely, lovely. Right. Just going to trundle this along a bit. There. There we go. So I think we're going to have to pump just for bonnet, probably. Got plenty of product left. No worries in that department. We might make it, mind you. I'll probably use the sprayer for the wheels as well, but we'll see. We'll see how everything's getting on in terms of remaining fluids. Of course, normal rules apply. If you drop your wash media at any point, that goes in the wash, or you pressure wash it, or hose it, inspect it, make sure it's still clean enough. For me, if I drop mine, that's going straight in the wash. We stop immediately and choose another one for now. Just re-wet that bit and that. Go over here, and then we know we're on the last leg. Get this done nice and quick. We are starting to dry quite rapidly now. Lucky car. Wish I could say the same about me. Down that edge. Apologies, camera. My back just didn't fancy bending down the other direction. Super job, super job. Ooh. Just moving the seat. We'll get into that last bit. Try and get as less of me as possible. Gonna go around this way. Get a couple of pumps in. Do a bit that I missed. Get the scuttle. And then we'll dive into this last bit. Looks like we've got a block nozzle. Right, that's that. Trying to remember to take my bucket with me, so that you don't have to tolerate my feet. The more videos I make, the more apparent it is how irritating a shingle drive is. Right, quick pass on that, which is very hot. Quick rinse. Lights, bumper, grille, air intake, number plate. and home stretch. And it's wash media, action side down in the bucket so that gravity can do its work, and any collected particles can drop to the bottom and be encapsulated by the grit guard. I did notice a few little spots as I was walking around, so I will go and buff some of those in a moment. I seem to remember when I first tried this, the instructions or a video guide that I read said if any dries on a panel, just wet it and then dry it again. And that is it. The simplicity of it all. Right, that'll do. So the camera's going to lose its seat. Now the car's clean, the cloth can stay up there. We can have a little look round to see where we're at. Nice and shiny. Need to remember to get into that. Nice and shiny, all the dust's gone, and that's taken 25 minutes ish, I suppose. We'll see once the video gets uploaded, eh? Right, let's get the camera in and we'll get straight into wheels, and we'll see how this gets on with always the dirtiest wheel. Now, with rinseless, we're not doing the barrels, behind the spokes, any of that. We're just doing tyres, wheel fronts only. So we might as well get this straight in and get it done real time. Always my preferred method, because it gives you a proper, full understanding and appreciation of the work required. No gimmicks. Just real world application. And I'll continue waffling while I quickly go and attend to that spot. Because if I forget that, that will irritate me on the way to work. Another one there. I have a separate dedicated wheel woolly. So the one I was just using can go somewhere dry, lint free. And we will push on. No product, no sponges, no product and no brushes, and we'll go straight in. Not too worried about rinsing, you know, the wash media. Just want to get round, get it done. And I can also afford to slosh it on a bit more now. Actually, you could put on some pre-soak with the sprayer. I'll do that on the next one. Yippee, I hear you all saying. We get to see another wheel. Hooray! Just one more. That'll be good to see if there's any difference in terms of performance. Well, that's lifting the dirt off there No problem at all. Maybe slightly more manual than if you were doing chemicals, pressure washer, but the amount of time saved cleaning the rest of the car with rinseless wash and getting out all the associated gubbins for either foam or traditional 2-bucket method, the time saving is enormous. Right, let's give that a very quick dry. Nothing major, because it's rinseless and I don't mind. This is just a quick spruce. Lovely. And that has done that a treat. Right, last one. Let's get you here. There's just enough spray left for a pre-soak. So I'll get that in everywhere. See if this makes any difference to the amount of manual work required. And we'll go straight in. Then I'll get the other side done off cam and we'll wrap that up. See, without using the chemical, you just don't have quite that firepower, but it's perfectly adequate. Perfectly adequate. We're not so worried about rinsing out the, wringing out the wash media, because I know how much I've got left. And we're at the point where we've got loads. I probably could have used half the amount. I didn't. So we are where we are. And I'll show you that in a moment. Let's just dry that. And I'll pause for a moment, get the others done, and then we'll do a wrap up. Of course, this microfiber will never be going near the paint again. This will be going in the wash with CarPro MFX washed to correct specification and then dried. So that one's come up nice, that one's come up nice. I'll just pause a minute, get the last two done off cam, and we'll have a quick look at what's left in the bucket for reference, and then we'll do a wrap up. And I've taken a seat for a minute, just while I regain myself, cool down a little bit, and there's a couple of things I needed to remember to say. So, another interesting part of using Optimum No Rinse is that it's also very good for dash, plastics, armrests, etc, etc, and a glass cleaner. So if you have another small spray bottle to hand, when you prepare your product, then fill your sprayer for doing pre-soak, you can also prepare another small bottle that you can use for glass, interior glass and plastics, and it does that a treat, and that makes that process even more joined up. And I will put the link to the video I made about using ONR as a interior cleaner up on screen now. So just a quick recap. So the other things you can use ONR for is no rinse wash like we've done today, pre-soak spray, quick detailer, clay lube, glass cleaner, interior cleaner, drying aid, car wash additive, steam cleaner or pad washer. So it genuinely is an incredibly versatile product, and You don't use hardly any. I've had this bottle, well, I've washed the car, I think I've done 7 cars with that, I would say. And the other thing I've heard you can use it for is as a water softener. A tiny little bit in your wash bucket and it can be used as a water softener. But don't quote me on that. You'll have to do your own research for how that works. Right, let's do a nice, slow pan round. So as I say, reason for this video is a friend at work was asking regarding minimum kit, essentials, if you will, required to do a rinseless wash to a good standard. And I hope you'll agree that that is a pretty good standard in a pretty good time. And I'll be totally honest, it isn't something I practice regularly. I've used it probably 3 times on Foz, 3 or 4 maybe on my partner's car, but I genuinely enjoy shooting snow foam at the car and pressure washing it, and that's it. But every time I use a rinseless, I'm always staggered at how quick you can get really good results. I can smash around that in 30 minutes. You would comfortably do that in an hour and it's quite mellow. And if you want to stop and have a break or a bacon sandwich halfway through, happy days. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, please consider hitting that like button. It really helps the channel and it helps the YouTube algorithm choose my content. And I wish you all a great day. Thank you for tuning in as always. Take care, all the very best. See you again very soon. Bye bye. I nearly forgot. That's how much stuff I've got left. I only used half. So if it wasn't for the fact that I was considering another rinseless test on my partner's car, I would probably use that kit just to do her wheels. But I've got another plan in store for my partner's car, if I can cool down. Right, see you soon.